Assalamualaikum. Welcome back to jammer.com. Today we're gonna do a Rust and MongoDB tutorial with CRUD REST API. Learn how to build a fast and reliable CRUD REST API using Rust and MongoDB. This step-by-step tutorial covers everything from project setup, data modeling, to implementing create, read, update, and delete operations in a Rust backend. Ideal for developers looking to harness Rust performance with a NoSQL database. There are several steps to creating, reading, updating, and deleting CRUD REST API using Rust, MongoDB, and actixweb. In this tutorial, we will create person and hobby models or entities related by one-to-many relationships, which in MongoDB can be achieved by adding person references to the hobby collection. At the end, we will have this REST API endpoint. Before we start, the following tools, framework, library, and dependencies are required: Rust or Cargo CLI, MongoDB, IDE, we will use VS Code, terminal or command line. Let's get started with the first step. Step number 1, preparation. Set up MongoDB. First, we need to install MongoDB community. We can download the homebrew formula for MongoDB on Mac and install it. To view the existing homebrew services, type this command. You can see the installed MongoDB community like below. Start, stop, or restart using homebrew like this. Make sure the MongoDB is running like this. Next, create a user for the database that Rust REST API will use. Go to the MongoDB shell by typing this command. Use the admin DB. Type this command to create a new user for the specific database. Next, turn on the security in the MongoDB config. Restart the MongoDB service. Set up Rust CLI. Next, we will install the Rust language by downloading the Rust setup file. Then follow the on-screen instructions. Type these commands to find the versions of the installed Rust app and cargo. Prepare VS Code. After downloading or installing the Visual Studio Code, start the application. Go to the extension on the left toolbar, search the extensions marketplace with the keyword Rust. Install the following Rust extension: Rust, Rust Syntax, Rust Analyzer, Rust Extension Spec, Rust Doc Viewer, and Prettier Code Formatter. Now, we are ready to develop a REST API using Rust and MongoDB. Step number 2. Create a Rust REST API application. After the cargo is ready, type this command to create or initialize a new Rust application. Go to the newly created Rust application folder. Open it using your IDE for VS Code. Type this command. The Rust project structure will look like this. To add the required dependencies, open the cargo.toml file from the project's roots and add these dependencies. Save and wait 4 minutes while IDE downloads the dependencies. Now, this Rust project is ready to develop. Step number 3. Connect to MongoDB. The next step is creating a connections to MongoDB, which we have installed and configured in the first step. Create a .env file. Add the root project folder for MongoDB URL, username, password, database name, and database authentication source. Fill this file with these configuration keys and values. Next, create a new Rust file in the src folder to implement a connections to MongoDB. Add these lines of Rust code to that file. The first two lines of the code are imports of the required libraries that will be used by the method or function. The next line is public and asynchronous functions or method. This method will read the previously created env file by the .env functions and then with the credentials that include username, password, and authentication source. So the REST applications will connect to the MongoDB using URL and credentials. Step number 4. Create Rust models. As mentioned in the first paragraph, we will create a person and hobby collection. So we will create two models in the models folder. Open the person rs file, then add these lines of Rust codes. Open the hobbies rs file, then add these lines of Rust codes. The imports of those files are the required library or functions that will be used to create a data structure for the models. They are MongoDB, object ID, the serialize and serialize from or to JSON, UTC datetime using the chrono dependency, and the functions to serialize or the serialize datetime and object ID that will be created later. Each of them has three data structures, with the first data structure representing the whole MongoDB collection. The second data structure represents the DTO, data transfer objects, request body for post. The last data structure represents the DTO response for the list of persons. The derive debug serialize. The serialize means the attribute allows new items to be automatically generated for data structures. The pubstruct means this file is a data structure with a public modifier. The tag serde are the mappings to the MongoDB collection, the implementations of a one-to-many relation between a person and a hobby is described as the pub person. Next, create agent file for the serializer and the serializer that have been used in the models. Then add these lines of Rust code. The imports in that file are required libraries for serializing and deserializing object ID and datetime. The first function is a function to the serialize MongoDB datetime to Chronos datetime UTC described by the return type result datetime UTC. The next function is a function to serialize Chronos datetime UTC into Bison compatible format or string. The next function is a function to serialize a string to MongoDB object ID. The last function is a function to the serialize MongoDB object ID to a string. Next, open the mod.rs file to register both model names as a module in the models folder. Then add these lines of Rust code to it. The persons and hobby models will be accessible outside of this folder. Step number 5. Create Rust handlers or controllers. We put the logics to create, read, updates, and delete data CRUD inside the handlers or controllers. It wraps all database access, requests, response, and their mappings. Create a new folder and Rust files inside it. Open the person RS and then add these lines of Rust code. Open the hobbies RS and then add these lines of Rust code. Both handlers use imports of actixweb to handle the REST API requests and responses. The MongoDB object ID and database handle the ID forms and populates the database. The server JSON is used to handle JSON requests and responses. The asynchronous functions of createPersons and createHobby has properties DB and person objects that are obtained from the createPerson, DTO, or model. MongoDB inserts operations used in that functions and then returns a success response or an internal server error if something happens. The asynchronous functions of getPersons and getHobbies has properties DB only. They have MongoDB find operations with empty conditions or filters. Return the results as an array of listPersons objects. The response returns data as a JSON array, or an internal server error occurs when something goes wrong. The asynchronous functions of getPerson by ID and getHobby by ID has properties DB and ID string. The ID will use converted to the object ID, so it can be used for the filter or the find one operation. The response will return data as a single JSON object, or an internal server error. It will occur when something goes wrong. The asynchronous functions of updatePersons by ID, deletePersons by ID, deleteHobby by ID has the same properties as the get by ID functions, except that the MongoDB operations they use are update1 and delete1. Next, open the mode RS and then declare these lines. Step number 6. Create Rust router. To make the handlers usable as REST API, create a Rust file in the src folder. Then add these lines of Rust code. This routes file imports the actixwebs to create the routes and all of the created functions from the handlers. The function configure routes, registers, or routes with their post, get, put, and delete operations and gives the route path API v1. Step number 7. Wrap them all together. To wrap the models, DB connections, and handlers together within the Rust application, open the main RS and then replace all of the existing Rust code with this. The asynchronous main functions is the entry point for these applications at runtime. It registers all of the modules and imports actixweb as the HTTP server. It also registers the MongoDB connection. In the end, this application will run on localhost with port 8080. Step number 8. Run and test the Rust MongoDB REST API. Before running and testing this Rust MongoDB application, ensure the service is running. On the Mac, type this homebrew command. Now run the Rust application by typing this command. Open a new terminal tab, then test to post a persons using the URL. That's the Rust and MongoDB tutorial Create CRUD REST API. You can find the full source code and the full articles in the descriptions below. Thank you.